A major breakthrough in U.S.-China relations as President Trump says a new trade deal is done after intense negotiations in London. So could this agreement finally ease tensions between the world's top two economies? I'm Veronica Dudo. Let's find out.
This is In America Today from the Ticker News Studios in New York City.
Tensions between the U.S. and China may be easing after President Donald Trump announced a new trade agreement following high-stakes talks in London. The deal includes China's pledge to supply the U.S. and its companies with critical rare earth minerals, while the U.S. has agreed to halt plans to revoke visas for Chinese students. President Trump called the agreement done, pending final sign-off by Chinese President Xi Jinping. The breakthrough comes after months of rising tariffs and strained diplomacy between the world's two largest economies. President Trump told reporters on a trip to the theater that the U.S. was moving ahead on more agreements with other countries, adding that he would be willing to extend the deadline for those talks, but didn't think he'd have to.
I think we're going to have that necessity. We made a great deal with China. We're very happy with it. We're dealing with about 15 countries, but as you know, we have about 150 plus, and you can't do that. So we're going to be sending letters out in about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
For more, I'm joined by David Argyle, the CEO of Reallies Incorporated. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Veronica. Great to be back on.
So first, what are the key components of this new deal between the U.S. and China?
The main outcomes of this is a confirmation that President Trump held his ground from the earlier discussions and the agreement that was reached in late April, May. The key for the United States benefit is the result of export of rare earth magnets. And from China, they have achieved three outcomes: student visas, access to the ethanol supply chain, and technology.
Now, why are rare earth metals such a central issue in this agreement?
Rare earth magnets are used in three broad categories. They're used for strategic purposes, predominantly defense-based, but also for aviation. They're also used in what we call key industries, and that would be automotive, heavy equipment. And they have a final use in what we call general magnet usage, which would be refrigerators and portable speakers. The key to this is China was withholding export licenses for rare earth magnets, put pressure on President Trump because of the potential to auto manufacturers and their parts suppliers to shut down. Now, this was not part of the agreement that President Xi agreed to back in late April, beginning of May. And so it was, I would consider it was a breach of trust. The president then accelerated his pressure points on China. And China, I believe, contrary to how some in the media portray it, China had to fold first.
Do you see this deal as a long-term solution or a temporary truce?
Trade wars and trade deals have temporary lifespans. And what is the term or definition of temporary? Well, it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be years. So there are so many dynamic factors within each country, other outside influences, which can either bring an end to trade dispute or bring a trade dispute into play. The president, I believe, has taken a long, even if China hasn't fulfilled its obligations that it agreed to in London, the president has other choices on rare earth supply from some of its allies, such as Japan.
What role did London play, the London talks, in moving negotiations forward?
They were critical to break the deadlock, and I think the Secretary of Commerce did a fantastic job in helping to break the deadlock under the mandate that the President Trump provided to him. The weakest position that the United States has in the trade arrangements with China is the restriction of imposed by China for U.S. exports. But on the import side, China had only one card to play, and that is, I believe that because of what's happened, this administration will put in place what other administrations have failed to do since 2011, will put in place an independent North American supply chain for rare earths, and in the future, taking away China's easy underbelly shot at the United States. And so the outcome of this deal in London, and might have a hiccup here and there, but the outcome will clearly be that United States will build that resilient North American rare earth to magnet supply chain.
From an economic standpoint, what impact do you think this will have on the United States, on China, and then more broadly, the global economy?
Well, it doesn't help anyone to have number one and number two as far as the global rankings go being at each other. Equally, I think that China has been able to take advantage of their centrally planned economy, supporting various industries, and has used that to effectively stamp out, in this case, competition from the midstream and downstream processors in the United States. So they have used their market and their financial power to actually have businesses in the United States shut down. President Trump, by introducing this tariff and a Buy America First approach, he is now helping his second platform. It wasn't just to make a level playing field, but it's actually to bring jobs back home. And I think this will be an outcome that's really positive for the reindustrialization of the United States.
Could this agreement impact future U.S. policy on trade with other major economies like India or the European Union?
It sends a clear signal. The signal is, if you take advantage of an open, free economy and market, such as United States, there are consequences. And playing tough with China is A, fair, but B, it also sends a clear signal that the United States is not going to be taken advantage of with regards to international trade, because jobs have been moved offshore for short-term profits and gain, and also because of subsidies that centrally planned economies have given their competitive industries. Well, this is a clear signal that jobs are coming back home.
Now, of course, we have seen many journalists, media organizations, and of course, political pundits speaking about whether or not this deal could actually get done. Of course, waiting for the final approval from Xi Jinping. But having been a businessman in this industry with the rare earths and magnets, did you ever think that this could be possible to see this deal?
In times of war, prepare for peace. In times of peace, prepare for war. Trade wars are no different. They always get resolved. It's how is the pie divided up? Is it a more equitable pie? I had the fortune of working and living in China from 1996 to 2006, building an industrial mineral supply chain. And I can't claim to know China because no one can. It's a very big country. But what I can say is that China is trying to lever its strengths, and the United States is trying to get back what was given away for free and what is rightly owed. So I think that the outcome of this trade war is that President Trump pushed China to the very brink, took off the table what was good for America, and now we'll move on to the other trade deals with other countries.
How likely and potentially at what speed do you think we might start to see some of these other trade deals roll in?
It was important to nail down China first, because then that set the tone. I think the other trade deals will come relatively fast. You've got Japan, you've got Germany, you've got the UK, all lining up to do their trade deals with the United States. The tone has been set, and long-term allies will step up, understand U.S. concerns, and I think come to the negotiating table with realistic expectations.
David Argyle, thank you so much for your time today.
Veronica, it's always a pleasure.
This is Ticker. We'll be right back.